everybody. I'm just going to wait for everybody to join. So, everybody who's joining, I see everybody hopping on. Welcome to the fourth episode of my live series, I.U.M, Inspire, Unite, Motivate. I am super excited to have our guest. Oh, I see she's here. All right.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
So I'm so excited to have you on my live series today. And I believe it's our first time meeting, so I'm super excited to meet you.
Yes, me too.
So, for those of you who don't know, I'm joined by the National United Miss, Junior Miss, Anna Banks. So, for some of the audience members who might not know a lot about you, do you want to start off by introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Anna Banks. I'm the National United Junior Miss, and this was my first year competing at I.U.M, and it was such an amazing experience. And there's so many good things that I could say about this system, but we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, it is truly such an amazing system, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. And it's actually my first year with this system too, so I am really excited.
Yes.
So, we're on here today to talk about your amazing platform, which is called Flourish. So,
Yes.
do you want to start off by just telling us a little bit about that? Maybe what inspired it?
Yeah, so Flourish is my personal platform that I've had for, I think, about the past 2 years. And the main purpose of it is to just inspire younger girls to find the beauty within themselves. And I travel to my middle school and I speak to these junior high girls about helping them find their purpose and their passions. And one thing that's really important to me about it is, as a younger girl, I struggled a lot with insecurities and self-identity, and I didn't really know who I was. And I'm able to share my own vulnerabilities and the things that I've learned in the past to be able to help these younger girls grow into the person they want to become.
I love that. That is so inspiring and so touching. So, why do you think sharing your story is important, and what are some ways that you're able to share your story?
I think it's important to create an environment where you can show your flaws. It makes everyone feel like they can relate to something, and that relatability allows for a connection to be formed to, even that little connection just can help these younger girls realize what they're going through is also something that other people have gone through, and people have faced the same struggles that they have. And I think it's important for me to be this vulnerable so people can see that even though my social media may look a certain way, that's not always what goes on. And it's important to remember that
Mhm.
social media is a highlight reel, and I like to preach that a lot in my Flourish lessons because it's super important, and especially in the pageant world. But no, it's also important to know that even just in regular life.
I completely agree with that. Social media can be often misleading. You can feel like somebody's life is like picture perfect, but everybody has a life beyond social
Oh
media.
yeah.
And it's so important to really spread awareness about that because even like the older girls, they can become obsessed with social media and they
Right.
can think something is one way. So I love that you're able to spread awareness about that. So I've seen that you use your website a lot and
Yes.
you promote your content digitally, which I think is super awesome. But I wanted to ask you, why do you think promoting your content digitally is just as important as like going and physically talking to people?
Yeah, like I said earlier, even though social media has its flaws, it's also one of the best ways to connect with people. And I
Yes.
can use my social media to reach people beyond my little small town of Fort Payne. And that's the whole purpose of my website, is to reach girls that are interested in I.U.M, girls who are competing in I.U.M, to get to see the behind the scenes kind of stuff that you don't get to see on regular social media. You post, and I think it's important to be able to share these things digitally so everyone across the world can join in and see what's going on.
Definitely, I totally agree with that. And I definitely think social media really has a lot of benefits when it comes to connecting with people. Like,
Hmm.
we're able to connect right now, and we're in different
Yes.
parts of the nation. So it really does allow for such a great opportunity for networking.
Hmm.
So I love that. So
Yes.
I know that you focus a lot on self-love, and you already mentioned that. So, do you think that self-love is something that is a topic that's important for like one age group, or is it something that's important for all age groups? Like, what are your thoughts on that in general?
Yeah, I definitely think it's important for everyone. But for me specifically, I like to focus on younger girls, especially the middle school age, because that is when, to me personally, is when you may face the worst amounts of like mean girls or someone picking at you. And I think it's important if we start teaching these girls at a younger age their self worth, it'll carry on into the rest of their life. And maybe they could even share their stories that they have gone through and be able to share the message of your self worth and loving yourself. And I think starting these girls young, it just helps them be able to grow a lot easier.
Definitely. As a middle schooler myself, I'm in seventh grade. I know that that's really important because middle school is really in between. Like, you're not
Mhm.
a high schooler yet, but at the same
Right.
time, it's not, it's a very different environment from
Hmm.
elementary school. And I know sometimes even that transition can be really difficult, like from
Yes.
an elementary schooler to now coming to middle school and then
Hmm.
getting ready in eighth grade to go to high school. So I
Right.
love that you focus on middle school because I'm in middle school, and I know that it is definitely a really important topic for middle
Hmm.
schoolers. So,
Yeah.
on a bit of a lighter note, do you have like a favorite memory from when you were like promoting your platform or doing something with your platform?
Every time I go and I speak to, when I go to the middle school, I speak to girls who I know personally. And that's one of my favorite things is I'm able to see that these girls, they want to come and they want to be able to grow in themselves. And as I like to say, they get to flourish. And I think it's
Yeah.
really important for me to be able to form these connections with girls that I know they will hold these memories forever. And I remember one specific time I just posted about that I was at the middle school speaking, and one of the girls I spoke to commented and said that the things that I had said in the lesson was spread throughout the rest of the school, and everyone was just talking about how my message had really helped them. And that's something that I like to see. I like to see that what I'm doing can help these younger girls find the best version of themselves, because that's really what I want to accomplish with my platform.
That is incredible. It's so amazing to always see that you're making an impact on someone, like whether it's like your platform like Flourish or it's any kind of platform really. It's
Mm-hmm.
so amazing to see that you are impacting other people's lives. So,
100%.
other than your website and going and talking in middle schools, are there any other ways that you like to spread your message?
Yeah, I think it's even just with like not showing it on social media and living it out in daily life. And I think that also with my platform Flourish, I'm able to live this kind of promoting self-worth and just showing everyone that it doesn't matter what people think about you, and just trying to live that out in everyday life, whether that be the way I dress or the way I present myself. I think it's important for me to practice what I'm preaching, and just making sure that every single girl who comes across me can realize that I'm the same girl that they see in these lessons that I teach. And I want to make sure that the girls that I teach can realize that I'm not just putting on like a face that they see while I'm doing my lessons. I think it's important they realize that you can be like that all the time, and it's not just a show that you have to put on to show on social media.
I love that you're able to incorporate that into your daily life because I know that sometimes like you're doing all this amazing stuff, but it can be hard to start to have kind of like two identities. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important that you incorporate what you say into what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
that way you're able to be a role model too to the younger girls. So that is fantastic.
Thanks.
So I have some questions here. So, what are some ways that you're able to spread positivity?
Yeah, so through my platform, it's like my platform is my baby. It teaches just about anything. But on my website, I have some blogs that I do, so I can reach people
Ooh.
digitally through my platform, Flourish. So a lot last year, I was kind of just typing out how I was feeling, preparing for I.U.M. And this before I left, I remember I was laying in bed and I was really nervous. It was the night before I left for internationals, and I was feeling all these thoughts and being just like, I was so nervous, and I was like, there's no way that I'm going to come home with this title. I was just feeling all the negative things, and I was able to go out and say all these vulnerabilities. And even though I was feeling super negative at the time, I think it turned into a positive. And my blogs are a way for girls to see that it's not 100% all the time, and I'm not 100% happy and being the best version of myself all the time. And I think that can kind of turn into a little positive to let girls know that that's a normal way of living.
I am so inspired by the fact that you were able to turn something like pre-pageant jitters into something positive. So that's just so inspiring to hear about. And these blogs sound super interesting. And I think I did check out like one or two of them, so they were really good.
Thank
And
you.
so tell me more about the blogs. Like, what are some things you do with it? Like, when did you start it? What inspired the blogs as a part of Flourish?
Yeah, so I started the blogs when I started my website. So I started my website, I think, around April last year. My whole goal with my website was to just promote I.U.M, promote my platform, just a good marry of the two. And when I started my blogs, I wanted it to be just like my Flourish lesson. So any girl who was outside of my Fort Payne Middle School could get the blogs too and get the same lessons that I'm teaching. So it can go from, I remember I wrote one in the summer about everybody is a summer body kind of thing, and just knowing that it's okay to not be okay, and just little things that I would say in my personal Flourish lessons that I like to share online too, so everyone around the world can get a little glimpse of what my Flourish lessons are like.
That is so awesome. Like you're able to use the blogs to have a broader outreach. And that's also a good idea for anybody who really wants to promote their message and take it to the next level. So
Yes.
that is super cool. And I also saw that you have a digital web series called I'm Undeniably Me.
Mhm.
So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so these are where I interview I.U.M queens, and last year I interviewed all of the international and national queens, and I'm currently working on getting together all of my sister queens so I can interview them again. But just the whole point of this is to get a better reach into what I.U.M is like, to get all these different perspectives about their journey with the national and international crown, just so any girl who is interested in competing in I.U.M or is competing can see exactly what their reign would be like. And that's also what my vlogs are for. I'm able to promote I.U.M and just be able to show that it's okay to, be yourself and have fun. And especially with the crown and sash, I get to promote that. And that's really one thing that I love about my website.
That is awesome, super cool. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it really is super awesome and super cool. So I love that you're able to do that, and it's like so inspiring. And I love being interviewed, interviewing people. So that is something that I can relate with, like doing series, like just
Yeah.
like this one. So you talked a lot about promoting I.U.M. So what is one way that I.U.M has been able to support you in your personal goals with your platform or just in general?
Yeah, I remember in my international interview, I was asked why, if a man were to come up to you and ask if you were in the system, what would you say? And first, it really took me off guard, but then I was like, let me think about this. And I.U.M promotes hashtag Sisters by Sash. It's all about empowering women. And I.U.M has been able to teach me what it truly means to lift each other up. And I'm so thankful that I.U.M has taught me these things, because it's lessons that I can take into daily life and I can use for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think that's something pageantry, especially I.U.M, does in general. It's able to teach us so many life lessons.
Mhm.
And I know that I'm going to use these skills of like interviewing, presenting myself, public speaking for school and in general the rest of my life. So definitely I.U.M is able to do that for women worldwide, and that's awesome. So what are some of the ways that your sister queens have been able to support you? Because you talk about Sisters by Sash and having all your sister queens together, and you guys just have such an amazing bond. So, what are some ways they've been able to do that?
I think it's just the fact that they are always one text or one call away. I could text any of them with something completely out of the box, and they would respond in the most genuine way. And that's just the thing about I.U.M. That's the hashtag Sisters by Sash. That's promoting that true sisterhood that, we're so thankful to I.U.M for giving us. I have 9 sisters, and having a brother. I've always wanted a sister. So being able to say that I basically have 9 now is pretty cool, and I'm thankful to I.U.M for that.
I have a younger brother myself, so I was so over the moon when I won my state title because now I have sisters too, like
Mm-hmm.
for the very first time.
Yes.
And we have a group chat and everything. And having a younger brother who's 5, it was so awesome that not only I got like one sister queen who was younger, I got like sister queens from all age groups who could
Yes.
offer me all sorts of tips and tricks and wisdom. So I definitely agree with that. So, Flourish is a really unique name. So what inspired that name? Like how did you choose the name Flourish?
Yeah, so it it was kind of when I was thinking about what I wanted to call this, I was going a lot with how I wanted these girls to grow into who they are and be the best versions of themselves. And going along with the grow, I just thought about flowers and I found Flourish and it was kind of it could be a little logo, kind of a little motto, life motto thing that just to flourish into yourself, just like how flowers grow and they change as they grow. And I think it's important that I can be able to use that as my title to be able to show that my lessons are helping these girls flourish into themselves.
I love that. So I am going to move to a little bit of a lighter note. What has been your favorite part of your reign this year?
It has been so amazing, and every time I try to explain how I feel about I.U.M, it's just I have no words. It just leaves me speechless, and it's so amazing that I'm able to go on all of these trips. And everyone says that Jamaica was their favorite trip, and it was so amazing. And just being able to spend a whole week with my sister queens was awesome. But to me, the Washington D.C. trip was one of my favorites because after the Disney trip in Orlando, we had already formed a bond, and by the time we got to DC, we were all like this. We were all super close and so excited to see each other again and just form those bonds even tighter and just to use them for the rest of my reign is just something that I'm really grateful for. And the Washington, D.C. trip was just the kind of glue to the rest of all of us joining together.
Honestly, that is the first time I have heard from someone like that one trip like they liked better than Jamaica because like I did interview a couple of your sister queens and Jamaica looked like a great time, honestly. I did see your video on the I.U.M YouTube page and it looked like a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
it's the first time that I'm hearing like that Washington D.C. was somebody's favorite, except for the time I think I was talking to your sister queen Adriana and she said you were able to do blessing bags as a
Yes.
group. So
Yeah.
that sounded like a great way. So, what are some of the ways you've been able to collaborate and network with your reign so that you can grow your platform? Because you have really grown your platform like so in such an amazing way, digitally especially. So, what are some ways that you've been able to collaborate with people?
No, I think through my vlogs, I'm able to do that. I'm able to connect with the rest of my sister queens and, all of these people in I.U.M. I'm so thankful that they love my vlogs and they're able to share them because them sharing my vlogs puts my website on the map. And my website is the center of everything that I'm doing with my reign. And it's important that even though I'm sharing these vlogs, if anyone's just a little curious about what the rest of my website is like, you can just click around and see all of my blogs, my vlogs, and everything that I'm doing with my platform. And I think being able to do these vlogs and being able to promote my website and I.U.M being able to tap back into my personal platform and stuff. And that's something that I'm really glad that my website has kind of hit it off because I was super nervous about it. I've never designed a website before. I was just kind of like messing around, seeing what I could do, and it ended up turning out really well. So something I'm pretty proud of myself for.
Yeah, that sounds so awesome. Like the fact that you would never really designed a website, I saw your website and it was awesome. Like it
Thank
was
you.
mind blowing. So that I didn't know that, but that's really cool to hear about. And I actually designed my website for my like my sub initiative, Seeds of Braiding. So I love like playing around digitally, doing different
Yes.
things. And I remember the first time I designed a website was for a class project last year. And
Mhm.
ever since then, I've been in love with digital creating. It's just such a fun way to really have that broader outreach, like
Mhm.
we were talking about. So,
Yeah.
the vlogs you mentioned, I started vlogging like sometimes. I like doing that sometimes. So, what inspired you to start vlogging?
Yeah, I think vlogging to me was just something I wanted every girl who is interested in I.U.M or is competing in I.U.M to see what goes on behind the scenes. And it's a fun way to be able to do that. It's to me kind of a personable way because everyone can see like what goes on
Mhm.
outside of what we post on social media when we don't have on the crown and sash, when we're just laying in bed reminiscing on the day that we had with each other. And I think it's important to be able to show that so you can get a more realistic version of what it's like to be a national title holder for I.U.M.
Definitely. I remember that when I first entered pageantry a couple of years ago, the first thing I did was I searched up vlogs because it's a really good way to see like an unfiltered view of what the pageant is
Yes.
like. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember after seeing like the I.U.M vlogs and everything, I was like, wow, this is the system I'm going to next. That combined with all of the like social media pictures and everything really
Mm-hmm.
inspired me to choose I.U.M. So I love that you're able to do that through your vlogs. So, we started off talking about like digital creating and stuff. So, what are some of the benefits you think of digital creating other than the broader outreach you get?
Mhm. I think since it's such a fun way for me to be able to do it, I have a lot of fun doing it, and that means I put a lot of effort and a lot of time into it so I can make it the best version that it can be. And I think it's important for it to be, visually appealing and be able to easy access, and that's something that I worked hard on was making sure that everyone can see that it's laid out in a certain way and you can just click a button, you have all these different lists of what you can go to, and I think just making it an easy way that someone can look around the website is really important, and that is what helps people explore my website more.
Yes, I completely agree with that, especially since we live in an age of technology and more than like books and like talking to
Mm-hmm.
people. We do that, but it's more technology now. Like
Right.
I go to school and we're definitely switching more from the textbooks to like technology, and we're just
Yeah.
kind of the whole generation is
Mm-hmm.
moving towards a more technological approach. So I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. And my whole series is centered on community service,
Mm-hmm.
and your platform is a way of you serving the community. So, what are the benefits do you think are of serving the community?
I think it's important to give back to your community because you can see that sometimes people they may need a little extra help, and I think it's important for us to give back into that, and it shows that I just it's hard to explain because community service is just something so important and something that I have a really big heart for, and that's what I want to do. I want to promote it, and I want to make sure that it feels good to know that you are touching the lives of someone and making someone feel like they've been impacted. And it's
Mhm.
something that you can't really describe until you've experienced what it feels like yourself. So I just think that with me with this national title, it's important for me to show that me putting on my crown and my sash is just as important as going out in my community.
When did you start serving your community, and what do you think the biggest benefit it has had for you yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
in general?
Yeah, so one of the first programs that I worked with was the Ronald McDonald House, and this goes back all the way to when my brother was born because he was placed in the Ronald McDonald House. So, they've always had a really close place in my family's heart, and being able to give back to them when they helped my brother in so many ways is so important. And I think that's also a great thing about community service. You can find a program or a company that you really love and you want to pour into because they've done something good for you or something that or someone else that you know, and that's with Ronald McDonald House. There's also Relay for Life. Relay for Life is also really close to me, and it's just really nice to be able to give back to companies that you really love.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because I remember the first time that I started serving my community, I was looking for like local organizations, and I found, I think it was Small Hands Big Hearts United,
Mm-hmm.
and I have just fallen in love with the program because I've been able to give back to the community in so many ways with
Mm-hmm.
them. So it's really awesome when you find a program that really touches your heart because you're able to serve the community in so many ways.
Yeah.
But I know at the same time there are girls and boys like were like me, to the point where they didn't know what community service was, or they had like this really vague idea.
Mhm.
So they don't know where to start. So what advice would
Right.
you give to people who want to do it, but they don't have a place to start?
Yeah, I think sometimes it can even go back to your school clubs. Like, I think
Yeah.
it depends on the school, but a lot of clubs at school do promote community service, and that's an easy
Hmm.
way to get in. Like, for example, at my school, we have Key Club, and you just sign up for hours, and uh, like the person who organizes all of the community service just tells you what time you need to be there, what you need to bring, and that's how you're doing your community service. And it's a good way to also, promote your school and show pride in your school and giving
Yes.
back to your community. And I think that's one really good way that you can start is just by maybe joining a club or doing some research about some of the things going on in your town. And that's just a great way to start.
School clubs definitely are the best way to
Mm-hmm.
start. I remember like the very first time I think that I got started with community service was with my elementary school. We had the K Kids Club, and the K Kids Club, I was able to do so many service projects, and it gave me a lot of role models to look up to because there were a bunch of older kids there who were from like the middle school or even the
Mm-hmm.
high school, and I saw them doing all these amazing things, and it made me think, wow, like maybe I can be in that position
Mm-hmm.
someday. And now
Yeah.
with my title, I'm able to give back and I'm able to be that role model to younger kids, even like my brother. So it
Mm-hmm.
all comes full circle, and school clubs are a great way to start. So,
Yeah.
uh, what is the name of the club you said that
Key
you were
Club.
in?
Ours is Key Club, and then I think there's the Lions Club too. So I think it kind of
Mhm.
depends on your school, but I'm almost positive that just about every single high school or middle school has some club that you can join that promotes community service. You just might have to do a little digging with some teachers to find it.
Yeah, it can be hard. Like sometimes I know we have a lot of clubs, and one way that I know that we can see that is like we have that big announcements wall or
Mm-hmm.
something, but a lot of people don't pay attention to that. So sometimes you really do have to do your research, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it can really pay off in the end because the sense of fulfillment, like you were talking about, once you actually get involved with it, is just so amazing. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think we have reached the end of our interview. Um, thank you so much for being on here today. It
Thank
has
you for
been
having
an
me.
honor to host you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it has been an honor to host you on here, and I cannot wait to meet you in person at Myrtle Beach at International. I'm super
I'm so
excited.
excited. I know I keep telling like
Yes.
my mom and stuff, I'm so excited for internationals, but at the same time, I don't want it to get here. I want it to stay as far away as possible so I don't have to give up this title.
Your reign has been incredible, though, and you
Thank
have
you.
definitely been a role model to me and like so many other girls worldwide. So it has been so awesome. And thank you again for being on here and joining me today.
Thank you. I had so much fun talking with you.
I had a great time too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Make sure to stay tuned because very soon I'm going to post who I'm hosting on here next and what girl boss is changing the world. Bye, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.